Hey guys, welcome back for another video. So we're back at the Bittersweet House Flip project today. And today I am tackling this subfloor in the kitchen. If anybody saw the, I don't know, it was a couple of videos ago where I demoed the kitchen cabinets, and I figured out that the subfloor was completely rotten, all spongy under there. So I've been kind of putting this off, but I decided it's raining outside today and I'm delayed on some contractors, so I thought, well, time to tear up the floor. And kind of interesting, so what I found tearing into this thing is that there's actually multiple layers of OSB down here for the subfloor. I was actually kind of originally worried about falling through this floor because it was so soft, and it still is pretty soft. But somebody had commented, he was curious to see how the floor joists were going to look down below. I figured those would be rotted out too, and from downstairs they actually don't look that bad. And this is the reason why. So that top layer of OSB was completely soaked, you know, all sponged up and expanded and saturated with water. This second layer that's actually on the floor joist is, I mean, it's wet obviously, but it's not as mushy as what that top layer was. So that absorbed a lot of that water, and I think stopped it from making it all the way to the joists. I'm sure they're probably a little damp, but they're not all rotted out. So that's good. So I'm gonna work on getting this tore out. You know what, while I'm here, I'm probably gonna tear out this rotten drywall too before I get too much further. And then I've been kind of taking some measurements using a laser there, and trying to figure out how uneven these floors are, and they really aren't too bad. Over here in this family room area, you saw me take this wall out here, kind of back here. This is all pretty level. Going into the kitchen here, all pretty level. Then it sort of drops where the kitchen cabinets are, so that needs to be raised up a little bit. Actually, this whole, what I guess is the south wall over here is a little bit low, so I'll get the kitchen as level as I can, just because it makes it a lot easier for setting cabinets. This over here, I may build this up a little bit too, because that makes it easier to do flooring if I do some kind of depending on what kind of flooring I do in here. No matter what flooring I do, actually it'd be better if that's leveled out. It's not off a lot. It's like from over the course of 8 feet, it's about a ½ inch low. But anyway, that's what we got going on. So let's work on getting the rest of the subfloor tore out and try to get this thing filled back in. So what I've discovered is that I'm down to my third layer of subfloor underlayment, and what actually happened, so this line here where you can see where the existing plywood is down, at some point in time, okay, so this house was all like tongue and groove pine originally, you can see, and that original subfloor is still in place out here in the majority of the kitchen. But what they did was they cut right here where this line of plywood is, they cut out that original pine subfloor. It was probably rotten at some point in time, and they just filled it all in with OSB. So this over here, the original, what was the original subfloor, original kitchen floor, is 3/4 pine, and then they added a piece of 3/4 plywood on top of it. So in order to get up to that, they just were stacking OSB over here. So takes a little bit of work to get all this tore out, but makes sense, I guess, why I didn't really see the moisture down below. There's so many layers. There's so many layers of OSB up here. It was just soaking up all the water and kept it from making it to the basement, I guess. But I'm gonna keep working on it and get all the rest of this tore out, and then I'll figure out what I need to do to get it all leveled out. Okay, so I thought I'd better turn the camera on just to kind of give you guys an update. So, as you saw, I got this subfloor tore out of here. I can't remember if I mentioned this in the last video. I think I did. But there were 3 layers of OSB down there, all basically spongy and bad condition. The joists themselves are actually in good shape. There's just a couple little spots, and actually that's solid. There's one little spot here that kind of deteriorated, but it's like, you know, 8 inches. We'll jump right over that, no problem. So I'm happy those are in good shape. But I started kind of looking forward here. So I've told you previously that I'm going to take out these doors and I'm going to put in just a single exterior walkout door here. And I got to measuring, and I wasn't going to have enough height in the frame to be able to get my door in. I only had like, I don't know, like 81 inches or something like that. And I think the frame is like 82 and a half, I believe. But anyway, so I started to kind of tear into that threshold a little bit, and then I realized when I tore out this threshold that they had put in here, how thick the floor had been built up. So I found, trying to think what I found. I found there's at least, so there's one here, there's 2 or 3 layers of 1/4 inch underlayment, and then there was at least 2 layers of old, couple different styles of flooring in there. Really thick, high quality actually, vinyl, and then some vinyl like glue down tiles basically. And every time they did a new floor, they just basically added another layer of underlayment. That was on top, and then of course I had the first thing I tore out of here was laminate. So you had the pad and then 3/8 laminate. So there's like 2 inches of flooring built up across this floor here. So I'm getting down to the point now where I can get the door installed. But then I was looking at the front door, and that one was all built up high on the front door too. So you can see that I think this is actually 1/2 inch OSB here. There was another layer of 1/4 inch underlayment on top of this, which the laminate was on previously. So I pulled that off and actually saved it because I might reuse that somewhere, as expensive as plywood is. This room over here is the original tongue and groove pine that you can see. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull up all this plywood here too, this OSB, this 1/2 inch layer. I don't see any reason to have it there. All it does is cause issues with doors, and it's just extra. From the basement looking up, I don't see any places where it looks like the original subfloor is bad. So as I go, I'm hoping I can just pop this up. Worst case scenario, if I find that there's some kind of issues or holes in the subfloor, if I take it up carefully, I can pop it back down. But that's the plan at this point in time. And then by doing that, this kind of yellowy looking floor in here too, that's another layer of 1/4 inch still in this kitchen that I didn't pull up. So this is layer like 3 or 4, can't remember. So I'm probably going to pull this up too, and then I'm going to be 100% down to the original pine subfloor, and that'll make patching that in easy. It'll just go right straight across, 3/4 to 3/4, and then I'll have a good basis to start with. And then if I have any low spots, I think it might be a little bit low where the refrigerator sits, maybe going into the stairwell might be a little bit low. I can build those up a little bit and I can get the floor leveled off. So that's where I'm at this point in time. I did not plan on tearing out all this subfloor, but it's what happens over the years. You put new flooring in and it just keeps getting built up. But there's a point in time when, after 50 years of doing that, you've got to stop and go back down to the original. So that's where we're at. I Thought I'd better give you guys an update. I haven't had the camera on in a while. I've been a little negligent in my duties, but I can't remember where I showed last time, but I got all this subfloor, or the built up subfloor is torn out. This place is a mess. I need to get it cleaned out. But anyway, I'm all the way down to the original 3/4 tongue and groove everywhere. I think I showed you me tearing out all this rotten OSB there. So this needs to be built up a little bit. I think I told you before that it kind of slopes just a little bit down to that side, and I want it to be nice and level where the kitchen cabinets are. So I'm going to fur that up with, I've got some 2x6s here, and I'll get that furred up so I get a nice level floor here. And then as I'm kind of working my way through, I got into this bathroom, and this bathroom turned out to be a real pain in the butt. I don't know if I showed you this before, but where the toilet sits over here, the floor was just drastically sloped up over here into the wall, and these floor joists are not at all level, and that exterior sill plate there is kind of the culprit, I think. It actually sits pretty high. The foundation, I don't know, either that board's too thick or the foundation's high there or something. I think the foundation's actually kind of high in this corner. So I really wanted this to be level. It drives me nuts when floors are really out of level. If I would have left it the way it was, I would have had to build up this side, and then I would have had this little, probably like 2-inch little kicker step on this side going into the bathroom. I didn't want to do that. So just to create more work for myself, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to rip down the tops of these joists, and a couple of these are kind of soft anyway, so not a bad thing to do. But I'm going to start on this side. I'm taking off just like, a quarter or so, and then as I get all the way down to this last joist down here, you can see where I snapped. I think you can see that. See where I snapped my chuck line. But on this last joist, I'm actually taking off 1 inch. This one's like 3/4, and it goes down to 1/2. And then so I'm just gonna kind of roughly rip the tops off of those, and then I'll take those 6x6s and I'll get everything leveled up and reinforced, and then we'll be good to go. I'll have a nice level floor. So a bit of extra work, quite a bit of extra work actually, but it's what I needed to do to have it be right. So that's what I'm gonna do. So it's time to get on the skill saw and start ripping some. There's nails in there. It's gonna be kind of a mess cutting those, but anyway, we'll get them ripped down. I'll probably destroy a saw blade, throw it away, and then I can work on getting everything leveled up. So I've gotten 5 of the 6 joists cut, and there's, like I said, I knew I was going to trash a saw blade, so I threw on a cheapo blade here because this one's going to get wrecked too, probably. But I just want to show you guys. Let's see if I can get this to show decent, but just completely trashed that blade. I was to the point where I was trying to cut that last joist, but all I was doing was basically just smoking because it could no longer cut at all. There's just old rusty nails in there that I couldn't get pulled out, and cutting them with the skill saw, my old beater skill saw. Alright guys, I got the tops of those joists all trimmed back now. You can see, I think you can see that one there. I don't know if you can see that on camera, all the nails in there. That's what I was cutting through with that poor saw blade. But there's my trimmings that I cut off the top. So now I've got everything low enough that I can come back and start getting this thing actually leveled up. Before I put this all together, I just thought I'd explain the process I'm using to level this out. So I've got my laser level here, which is basically shooting a line out across this floor. So I use that, and what I've done is I've got two joists furred up here with my 2x6s. This one over here I got to trim down just a little bit more, but anyway, I got those leveled with the laser level, and then now spanning across here, you can see, can you see that bubble? I think you can see that bubble, but that baby is dead level. And then going the short way across the room, you can see that's nice and level too. So Now it'll be easier. I'll just lay a couple of straight edges across and lift my 2x up to the bottom of the straight edge, and I can run some screws in there. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to bang the heck out of it with glued nails out of my nail gun. So I'll pound them in there really good. The thing's going to be good and solid. And I should mention too, in case anybody's wondering about me ripping down a little bit off the top of these joists, I'm only spanning, like, I think all the way across there is like 7 foot or something like that. So I'm not spanning very far, and I didn't cut very much off of those 2x10s. Plus now I'm basically re-strengthening with these 2x6s, so this floor it'll actually be stronger when I'm done than when I started. So let me get this all put together, and then we'll come back and see how it looks. Bathroom is all leveled out, subfloor is down. Time to move on to the kitchen. So I'm gonna level this out too, but before I do that, so at some point in time, they went from this little breaker panel here, and they installed a new breaker panel with 200 amp service to this house. And when they did that, they left just a crazy mess of wires everywhere. So I've got to get these old wires cleaned out. I can't just leave this mess like this. So I might as well, while I've got the floor opened up here, it's going to make it a little bit easier. I've got a lot that I'll have to do from the basement too, but I might as well go ahead and take advantage of this and get some of these old wires cut out of here. Hopefully I don't cut anything hot. But most of this has been abandoned. Why anybody would rewire this house and leave all this old crap in here, I have no idea. All right, kitchen subfloor has been replaced. So kitchen's done, bathroom's done, time to move on. And I'll just show you, if you haven't figured out by now, I'm pretty particular about having things level and plumb. So we're nice and level going across that way. This is the way that I actually had to level the floor because it was sinking downhill. And the way I did this, there's a crown in the floor that goes to about there. So there's going to be a couple of feet that I'll need to level that just slightly, and then I've got this side over here too, where you can see there's a lip that sticks up, and so that this whole side over here kind of sinks down. So I saved all the leftover, all the old 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch that I pulled up off the floor. And so I can really easily cut those into strips and get that leveled off to the high spot. I'll be able to do the same thing over here. I'll probably start with a 1/2 and then come down to the 1/4 and get that leveled off pretty easy. So at this point, this took way longer than it should have, but it's done for now. So I'm ready now to move on, and I'm going to probably start doing some framing next. I actually, probably the first thing I'm going to do, so I alluded to this in a previous video, but you can see the big hole we got cut in the wall here. So we're actually going to run a chase from the basement all the way up through the second floor and up to the attic. And what I figured out was when they put heat in this house, there's really poor supply air going up there. One small random vent in each room. Actually, one vent was actually split between the hallway and another room. I'm sure that was terrible. And there was zero return air whatsoever coming from upstairs. So if you know anything about heating and cooling, if you're not pulling air and you're just pushing air, it would be very hot in the summer, it'd be cold in winter, and it would not be right. So we're taking the extra time and we're going to run that chase up. So that chase is going to go all the way to the attic, and we're going to actually supply air from the attic. And then what he's going to do is take those existing runs that we're pushing supply air to those bedrooms, and he's going to flip that downstairs, and he's actually going to use that as a return air. So we'll actually be able to circulate air up there, and it's going to be much, much better. So what I need to do, I'll let him get this, I'll frame around this once he gets the chase in, but I actually need to get downstairs. There's a joist that runs right here. There's a joist here, over there, and there's one right here in the middle. These two are real close together. And I need to actually cut this back a little bit, and then so he has room to get his main chase run through there. So I need to cut this joist back and then header that off down there so that's supported. So that's probably the next thing that I'll do. And then once I get that done, I think I'm going to come in here and I'm going to get this sorted out as far as, I'll rip these doors out. Actually what I'll do is I'll rip these doors out. I'll get my new door framed in here. So if you remember, this is just going to be a single walk-in door. This will become a wall. My wall will come across to here. And I need to get figured out how my washer and dryer are going to get laid out in here. I haven't gotten a plumber in here yet because I need to get everything kind of spatially laid out. And then once I get that done, then I'm going to go upstairs and I'll start framing on the new bathroom that I'm putting in upstairs. So lots of framing coming up now. It's going to be really nice to start really moving forward. It feels good to get subfloor down, but it's going to be really nice to actually start getting some walls in the air. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Appreciate you watching. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe to my channel if you're interested in seeing the next steps in this project, and we'll see you in the next one.